A long, long time ago, before Christ was born, there was a young Hebrew named Joseph living in Egypt. Unfortunately, this Joseph fellow was in jail for a crime he didn't commit. At that time, there were two prisoners in there with Joseph who had very high status, even in jail. One was the Egyptian Pharaoh's personal baker, the other his cupbearer. One night, these guys both had strange dreams. Normally in Egypt, people with such high-ranking jobs could have their dreams interpreted easily by wise men in the Egyptian household. But there wasn't anyone hired to interpret the dreams of a prisoner. When they talked to Joseph about their dreams, God showed Joseph what their dreams meant. The cupbearer's dream meant that he would be restored to his position in Pharaoh's household, but the baker's dream meant that he would be executed for his crimes. 3 days later, the two men appeared before Pharaoh. Everything happened the way God had said. Now Joseph had requested that the cupbearer mention him to Pharaoh, but the excitement of being restored to his position apparently caused the cupbearer to be forgetful. Joseph remained in prison for crimes he didn't commit. A couple years later, Pharaoh was throwing magicians and wise men out of his palace. They'd failed to interpret his dreams. It was at this time that the cupbearer remembered Joseph.
Oh yeah! You know that an innocent Hebrew kid got thrown in jail for a crime he didn't commit? He interpreted my dreams correctly when I was in there with him, and I forgot to tell you this for a solid 2 years because I didn't remember. I'm a bit of a dirtbag friend.
As you can probably imagine, Joseph was in that hole pretty quick after that.
So you're the guy who interprets dreams?
No, but God will give you an interpretation of your dreams.
Jude, weirdest dream I ever had. I was standing by the Nile River when 7 really fat, healthy cows came up out of the water and started grazing in the reeds. Then 7 more cows came out of the river and towards the other cattle. But they were the most scrawny and hideous creatures you can imagine. Suddenly, they viciously attacked and ate the healthy cows alive. The strangest thing is, they were still just as scrawny when they were done. Then I woke up. When I slept again, I had a second dream. A stalk of grain with 7 full heads sprouted, but then a stalk with 7 withered heads grew next to it. Then the rotten grain devoured the healthy grain. I've had wise men come from all over the place to interpret my dreams. They all failed. What about you?
Both your dreams mean the same thing. God has revealed what he's going to do. The healthy cows and grain represent 7 years of good crops, but the 7 withered cows and heads of grain represent 7 years of famine. The next 7 years will be rich for harvest, but the following 7 years will utterly destroy the land with famine.
How dare you predict disaster for Pharaoh?
Let him speak.
God has revealed his plans because they're final. You should get a wise man to collect 1/5 of the good harvest and store it for the bad years.
Is there anyone in the land who has the spirit of God like you? I don't think so.
Pharaoh made Joseph second in command of Egypt. He collected the harvest.